When talking about a series like The Hunger Games, it's safe to assume that nothing about the franchise can be considered fair. Panem itself is based around an unfair government that makes unfair decisions at the expense of the districts. However, one thing really stuck out to me, especially after reading the prequels, that was not only unfair but downright brutal. This is, of course, the Reaping ceremony. There are many points I'll touch on today about how unfair the Reaping really was, and why I think it's one of the darker parts of the Hunger Games franchise. Without any further ado, let's get it. We all know how the reaping goes. The entire district gathers in a square. An escort calls out the names of one boy and one girl. They go to the front and are shooed onto a train to the capital. It seems simple enough, so what makes it so brutal? I guess we should first start off by talking about career districts. Career districts are a huge problem when it comes to the fairness of the reaping for multiple reasons. First, it's their constant volunteering. Since children of these districts see entering the Hunger Games as a great honor, they train in combat until they are almost aged out of the reaping and then volunteer. My personal theory is that it's a rare occasion when there isn't a volunteer in a career district, like the District 4 boy in the 74th Hunger Games. It really isn't fair to the other districts that 1, 2, and 4 do this, because outer districts like 11 and 12 aren't treated to this protection, and it often results in younger and weaker kids entering the games each year. Aside from this, careers and their connections to the capital mess up the actual Hunger Games as well. Since career districts have kids volunteer almost every year, they often end up winning, and not just because they're the strongest. Sunrise on the Reaping revealed that Haymitch believed the capital preferred a nice, strong career tribute to win, as opposed to a small, scrawny one from an outer district. This makes sense because the capital would rather parade around a lively and proud career victor than a weaker, more traumatized one. Career districts as a whole truly made the reaping system extremely unfair. The next reason the reapings were so unfair was because of the tessera. Tesserae was a vital part in the capital's propaganda and was truly one of the more brutal parts about the reaping. Tesserae was a system set up by the Panem government that allowed district citizens of reaping age to sign up and receive a year's supply of grain and oil for themselves or their family. There was a catch though. For every tessera a kid claimed, their name would be added to the reaping ball another time, ultimately raising the chance that they would be reaped for the Hunger Games. This twist to the reaping specifically targeted lower class and poor families, as these families that needed tessera the most got reaped more often by sheer odds. Tesserae was usually claimed in poorer districts such as 11 and 12, while richer career districts like 1, 2, and 4 rarely claimed any. Katniss Everdeen, Gale Hawthorne, and Haymitch Abernathy all had to take tessera to feed either themselves or their family members. All in all, the act of taking tessera was a twisted way for the capital to target poorer families to enter the Hunger Games. I imagine it bothered many people in the districts that class directly influenced who entered the Hunger Games each year, as you couldn't choose if you were born rich or poor. Another reason the reapings and the Hunger Games themselves were unfair was because of the ages and the age gap. Those who were aged 12 to 18 were eligible for the reaping, and this is a problem for many reasons. First, it isn't fair to put young kids who haven't even hit a growth spurt yet against 200-pound 18-year-olds who are trained in combat. I can't even imagine if it came down to Ruin Cato or Wovian Reaper. The ages themselves don't make sense because of the physical and mental changes that happen during these years of a human's life. Katniss herself even noted that the competition will be far beyond my abilities. Kids from wealthier districts where winning is a huge honor who have trained their whole lives for this. She was 16 when she said this. Now imagine a 6th grader. On the flip side, the tessera system at least works in the favor of younger children, since the reaping slips add up as you age, and the older you get, the higher chance you will be reaped. Still, 12-year-old kids still get reaped at a decent rate, and it isn't fair considering the careers. The final but largest aspect I will touch on today is the topic of rigged or altered reapings. Catching Fire put the idea in her head. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes hinted at it. Sunrise on the Reaping did of course confirm it. Rigged or tampered with reapings were indeed possible, and they probably happened more often than you may think. We know of 2 reapings that were for sure rigged, and I have theories that at least 2 more were rigged as well. The first one we know of that was definitely rigged was Haymitch's reaping, as Sunrise on the Reaping revealed. This truly opened the idea to us readers that reapings could be rigged, as Haymitch was unfairly selected for the sole reason that they needed a male tribute after of course what happened with Woodbine. We also know that the 3rd Quarter Quell, or the 75th Hunger Games reaping, was rigged. This is all thanks to a deleted scene from Catching Fire, which revealed that they switched cards in an attempt to knock out Katniss Everdeen. There are also a couple that weren't confirmed, but I theorize were likely rigged. First, I believe Lucy Gray's reaping was rigged, as it was heavily hinted in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I find it highly unlikely that she got reaped by chance after the incident with Billy Tape and Mayfair. The mayor was the one reading the slips, and he announced Lucy Gray's name with quite satisfaction, and Mayfair also whispered, "Sing your way out of this one, Lucy Gray." The other reaping I imagined was rigged was actually District 12's 74th Hunger Games reaping, when Prim was the female tribute that was reaped and Katniss volunteered. It may seem like a bit of a stretch, but I find it unlikely that Prim was the one reaped when she only had one slip in a bowl containing thousands. The Everdeens' connection to the Covey and their mentor Haymitch could have also played a role in this reaping being rigged. So this then bears the question, why are there probably so many reapings that were rigged? Well, the first and most obvious reason is for drama, as the capital citizens want to be entertained and rigging reapings can cause a lot of drama. An example of this can be shown with Kashmir Gloss. The brother and sister duo won back-to-back Hunger Games and it is unclear if they volunteered or not. Maybe Snow rigged the reapings to create more suspense and interest in this time period. Another reason could be to punish rule breakers or people that were members of the Covey. Woodbine Chance could have been intentionally reaped because of his likely relation to Arlo Chance, a District 12 rebel that was hanged for his attempts at rebellion. And that's just from the small sample size of District 12 people we were introduced to in the series. Imagine the rigged reapings that could happen in any of the other 11 districts. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into why the reapings in the Hunger Games were so extremely unfair. Let me know in the comments your theories about the reapings and other reasons you thought the reapings were unfair. Consider subscribing. I'll be making more Hunger Games related content soon, and you won't want to miss it. See you in the next one. Peace.